Hi, and welcome back to SOS Stories of Survivors. I'm your host, Serina Dansker, and here's where we share stories of loss, love, resilience. And today's conversation is one that hits really close to home for me. It's about the loss of a child. And joining me today is an incredible woman. Her name is Christy Pugh, and she is going to talk about the loss of her child, Emma. And she was just 6 years old when she passed. And she's going to talk about how she's turned her pain into purpose. So thank you for joining us. And thank you so much for being on the show, Christy.
Thank you for having me.
I guess we'll start off by just, let's talk about Emma. Who was she?
Emma's just an incredible, special human being. She is kind, thoughtful, loved her friends fiercely and deeply. She was, a big advocate for kids as a whole. Didn't really matter if you could speak English or if you were in a wheelchair, or if you were nonverbal. She was just like, I'm Emma, do you want to play? She would often have other parents say like, oh, well, so-and-so doesn't use their voice to speak, and they use this adaptive, other things that they use. And she's like, that's okay. And she'll, give them the thing to hold, the toy to hold. And then she's like, I'll do both the voices. So she was just very, very wise for such a tiny little thing.
Oh my gosh, she sounds just incredibly sweet.
Mm-hmm.
What lit her up? What was her favorite things to do?
Animals. She absolutely loves animals. And she would, we would take her to Paws in Norwalk, and she would go and she would read to them. Say read. She was still learning how to read, but she would go there and she'd, read the story and turn the book around so that they could see the pages. She had it was adorable. It was adorable. She had a soft spot for, the really old dogs and cats. She really wanted to adopt a cat. It was very old and definitely not very well. She loved animals. She wanted to play with all of them. She loved kids, other kids. She understood in some level how privileged she was. She, came home from school crying one day because they had a book fair, and a lot of the kids in her class couldn't participate in the book fair, and she was incredibly upset. So of course I marched my little tushy in there the next day, and I'm like, get the books. But also wanted the kids to be able to pick out, like the fun stuff, the stuff that makes the book fair, the silly poster and the silly pen and the pencil and the whatever smelly eraser thing.
The bookmarks, right?
Yeah, like it was the best part of the year. And so she very much wanted, everybody to participate, or, for everybody in the class to go on the field trip. And she loved dancing.
Ooh.
Yeah, so she was our little prima ballerina. She desperately, desperately wanted to be Clara in the Nutcracker. A lot of the little girls in her class were like, oh, I want to be, the Sugar Plum Fairy. She's like, nope, Clara.
Oh, I love that. That's so awesome. Oh my gosh. And what would you say, how would Emma want to be remembered?
I think she would just really want to be remembered as being kind. And I purposely use the word kind and not nice, because she would still absolutely read you the riot act if you were not playing properly, or you were being mean, or whatever it is. And she would in preschool, there was a time when she a boy had done something to one of her friends, and she took the boy's hand, marched him up to the grandmother, and gave the grandmother a what for, and turned around to the little boy and said, if you want to play, then we can play, but you have to play nice. Um, I was
That's
like, oh,
awesome.
it
That's
is. I
it's
was like,
incredible for someone that young to
mhm,
be able to articulate what they're feeling. Normally they would just cry, a normal.
for sure. Yeah. Nope. She was very much, but she was just kind, and that's what I mean by the word. It's she loved fiercely, and she protected her friends. But if you were a kid who maybe wasn't nice, she would just be like, let me know when you want to be nice, and then we can play. um, it's like, okie doke.
I love that. Oh my gosh. Um, can you share as much or as little as you feel comfortable about what happened?
Sure. So in February, Emma was she was 6 and in first grade. This is February 2018. She came home um, on the bus, and I got a phone call from my husband just saying, hey, she has a fever. I said, okay, let's go to the pediatrician. The pediatrician had like an urgent care section, part of them. So we went there. They looked at her and they said, yep, it's the flu. But they didn't have any more tests, so they couldn't test her for the flu. And it wouldn't have mattered really anyway because there was no Tamiflu.
Mhm.
There was a nationwide shortage. There was like nothing in Connecticut. And because she wasn't younger than a certain age, obviously wasn't pregnant, obviously not over a certain age, and didn't have asthma, she didn't qualify. Um, and to be honest, even if she had qualified, I don't know if she would have been able to get it anyway because there was just nothing available. Um, and so the doctor was like, well, Tylenol and ibuprofen, rest, lots of fluid. Got it. So I mean, that's what we did. We played, uh, built forts. We went for little walks, watched movies. I mean, all sorts of things. I mean, she really wasn't that sick, other than kind of like an intermittent fever. Um, and
No
then
aches and pains and all of that,
no, no,
nothing
not
she was
really.
complaining about anyway,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, nothing that she was like,
Nothing
oh,
that you would have said, "Oh my God." No.
nope, nothing. I mean, we built like a Lego dinosaur that like could transform from one thing to another. Like it was, I mean, I hate to say it, like it was a great week, but it wasn't a bad week. Um, and Friday night, um, we had dinner. She wanted some mangoes. We gave her some mango. Was a little concerned that it was like, it was quite ripe. And then, you know, took a shower, put her to bed. And then that night she woke up and just started throwing up and couldn't stop. So we're like, okay, maybe the mango was a little bit too ripe, you know, must be food poisoning. Um, because I didn't know that vomiting could be a thing with the flu. Um, I mean, even though I've had the flu before, my husband's had it before, she had it before, never really knew that that was even a thing. Um, so, kind of like in and out of sleep all night because she keeps uh, vomiting. The next day, I'm texting my various friends and just saying, like, should I take her back to the doctor? Like, this just seems like extreme. And they're like, no, she's throwing up. Like, it's not that big of a deal. I was like, I'm going to take her in.
Yeah.
So we take her back to the pediatrician. They give her a Zofran, under the tongue to dissolve. Threw that up immediately. Gave her another one. She kept that down. And they were like, okay, well, we kind of have done all that we can do here. I'm like, great. If this keeps happening, then, you'll have to go to the hospital. It's like, oh, great. So she seemed kind of like calm for a little bit. We get home. give her a bath, put her in front of the TV, and she's watching a movie. She wanted to watch Barbie and the 12 Dancing Princesses, but couldn't find our copy for whatever reason, and so she was watching, I forget the name of it, but it was another Barbie movie. I think it was like A Horse's Tale or something. So we watched that, and then she threw up again. I was like, "Okay, we're done with this nonsense."
Yeah.
So I called the pediatrician. They tell us to go to the hospital. The nurse I spoke to on the phone said to go to Stanford because they have a pediatric emergency room.
Mm.
Cool. Didn't know that that was a thing. Fantastic. So we went there, and they're, triaged us. We go into a little room, and we're just kind of like there, and she just keeps throwing up. And right now she's had like 2 or 3 doses under the tongue. She has an IV in her with fluids and apparently like another anti-nausea medicine. And like nothing is working. And so I guess the doctor, in and out, crazy, crazy, crazy snowstorm, because of course.
Yeah.
And I keep asking, I'm like, is she going into sepsis? Like, what is going on? Like, this seems crazy to me that she is still so nauseous and has all of these drugs in her. And they're like, no, no, no. We think she might, have diabetes. And I was just like, that seems weird.
Doesn't sound right.
Yeah, and I was just like, that just doesn't seem right.
You have instincts as a mom, like your soul knows something. You're connected, right?
Yeah, and I mean, she didn't have any of this other symptoms,
Yeah.
Didn't have crazy thirst. Her breath didn't smell fruity. She wasn't peeing all the time. Like,
Right.
it's like, this isn't it. So they finally decide to admit us. We go up to whatever the pediatric floor is. And they put her in a room, and then things went nuts. I don't really know what happened or what was going on, but they were just pumping her with fluids, like injecting it into the bottom of her feet. They brought in something
Did
called
some blood tests come back or something that they would do?
no, nothing came back. Yeah, I mean, they were just pumping her with fluids. They brought in something called a bear hug, which I think is like a warmer of sorts, I guess, because they were pumping her so full of fluid that like her body temperature was getting cold.
Oh,
Yeah, I was like, this is so weird. And I just remember kind of like going in and out of the room because I was like, I didn't know what to do with myself because I'm watching her and like she does not look good. This isn't good. But there's so many people in the room. I was like, I'm in the way. And then I'm out in the hallway and I'm going, but I should be in there. So it's like I'm just in and out, in and out, in and out like this, like I'm going crazy. And I'm looking at her and she has like really dried lips. And so there was like a slight moment of calm. And I was like, well, can I put some chapstick on her? So I took out my Burt's Bees pink grapefruit chapstick, put some on her. And then, went back out to the hallway because I was like, I don't know what to do. And somebody came out and was like, we think that she needs to go up to Yale and go into the PICU. Like, are you okay with that? I was like, well, yes, obviously. Like, do whatever you need to do. Like, well, we can't like helicopter you there because of the snowstorm. So they're sending an ambulance down. And I was like, that seems weird, but okay. So anyway, so she gets put into the ambulance. I'm riding with her in the ambulance, and she's watching Elmo for some reason. Gave me a thumbs up. So I was like, okay. And I mean, according to the reports, she was improving in the ambulance.
Now, was your husband with you, or
No, he had to drive separately.
oh, they couldn't keep both of you in the.
Mm-mm. No. Yeah, so we get there. Emma and I get there, and they bring us up to some room. So we're, Emma and I are in this room. Dave shows up however many minutes later. Like maybe 20 minutes or so later, he gets there. And I'm talking to the nurses. I'm like, is she gonna die? And they're like, no, like she's, she'll be fine. I was like, it's like, okay. And I'm looking at her, and she is now, it is night and day from where she was to then being in that room, because she was now sitting up. She was talking. She had color back in her face. And then, my husband was there, and I was telling her, I was like, hey, you know what? When this is all better, we will go to Jordan's Furniture on our way home, because I had like that fun zip line, and she loved to do that. And she's like, no, I just want to go home. I was like, that's fine too, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
She then looks at my husband and says, Dada, I can't breathe. So they like laid her down. She coughed, and then to me, she died. They then did CPR on her for 30 minutes, injected her with epinephrine multiple times. And then they called it at 2:15. But to me, she passed at 1:45 in the morning on Sunday.
Wow. Oh my God. And I'm sure, like me, your world tilted on its axis at 1:45.
Oh, it stopped.
Yeah.
It was very, there isn't even a word. Like, it's beyond strange. It's beyond surreal. It's beyond anything, and it's not at all like what you see on TV or the movies. They're not getting out the paddles, and which I later found out, because that's not actually a thing. You have to have some sort of heart rhythm for them to use like the paddles on you, which is not what they make it seem to be on TV and in movies. So I'm like, well, why don't we do the paddles? Why don't we put her on ECMO? Because there was nothing to put on to ECMO. She was gone. She would have had to be on ECMO before she coughed. And that takes time to set up. And then that comes with its own set of issues. A lot of people who go onto ECMO, still pass, or they have strokes, or all these other horrible things that also happen to them. But I just remember sitting on that couch, and just, she's in front of me on the gurney, and I'm just like, how do you leave now? How do you leave? You can't leave. I can't leave her here. And it was just bizarre. And I think a part of me just never left that room.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I want to reach through and just give you a big hug right now. I really do. I know that all too well, and it's just, oh my God, those early days of grief when. Let's talk a little bit about, okay, so she's passed. I went into a state of, denial, in my own mind. My son was away, so I could do that easier. You, not so much. But how did they did they say the cause of death was the flu, or did they come up with some miraculous discovery? do they do an autopsy?
Yes.
They did that for my son too, so
Yeah,
young,
they
you
they,
know?
uh, they called because I guess it's not always automatic, um, and they called, and I don't know who had my phone or who answered because after she passed and we had to leave, like, we went down to a different hospital, and I was like I just walked in, I was like, "I'm dying,
Yeah,
so you need to fix this."
yeah,
Um, and somebody was just like, "Do you want them to do an autopsy?" And I was like, Yeah."
yeah,
Um, because I was like, "Is it something genetic? Is it like I
yeah,
don't understand how you can be sitting up and talking and
right.
then gone."
No,
Um, and the doctor who, I guess, oversaw the room, um, when he was telling us about the autopsy, like 2 weeks or so later, I mean, they, like, must have expedited it 'cause I've heard it takes a very long time.
yeah,
Um, it was, viral myocarditis, caused by influenza B, and so, basically, she had, inflammation of her heart, and her doctor was like it was basically like a light switch.
oh
It
god,
was on and then off. There was no warning, um, no real indicators that this might be a thing, because she had been improving. She improved in the ambulance. She was sitting up and talking in at Yale. So they're just like, it's not it wasn't on their radar as something to check. And since COVID, more and more people know what myocarditis is. Um, and it's just, unfortunately, they think it's now caused um, other people. They're like, oh, well, it's because she was vaccinated. And it's like, that is not what caused it. Um,
god,
we still believe in the flu shot. We
yeah,
still get the flu shot every single year. We get all of our vaccinations. We are strong advocates for it. Yes, it didn't work for us, but she wasn't that sick.
right, right, exactly.
She really wasn't.
So talk to me about the first 24 hours, the first week, getting through. I mean, I can commiserate with you because I know. What was that like for you? Talk to me. How did you know you had to leave her at the hospital because they needed to do the autopsy? What did you,
I mean, it took us hours to leave. And I just remember, like, I was on the couch at one point and then was on the floor, and one of the doctors had come in and sat on the floor with me. I was like, I don't know how you expect me to just leave her here.
yeah,
So I was like, she's gonna be scared, she's gonna be cold, and like rationally you're going, but she's gone. She doesn't feel these things. Like she can't be but like your other instinct is like, well,
you're
no, she's afraid of the dark, she's 6, like so there's that battle going on in your brain of like what's real and what's not real. Um And then we were driving home, and I was just like or to the hospital, I guess, and I was like, I can't go home. I can't go home. What am I supposed to do at home? I can't go." Like, "No. No, that sounds awful." And so my company, bless them, paid for us to have, like, a room/suite, if you will. I had a kitchen in there at, like, an extended stay place.
oh,
And, because I was like, no, I there's absolutely no way that I'm going home,
yeah,
because it's like jumping off of a train
yeah,
because you are moving and, you have school and lunches and homework and showers and extracurricular and all of these things, and then it's like, now you don't. And you're like, "What am I supposed to what? What do you mean? What am I supposed to do?" Um, and it was horrible. But
Even
with
food shopping, even going to the grocery store, you go to reach for their favorite cereal, and it's like no one's
yeah, I
gonna.
mean, we had
I mean,
such a strong community and such an outpouring of love. Like I don't even know who fed us, but there was food. Somebody making sure that I ate. Um, Somebody brought us a change of clothes because I was like, I have to burn the clothes that I'm wearing. I could obviously never wear them again. It was just, it was just, it was crazy. So I mean, I didn't have to go out, luckily,
God.
for a while to like, I didn't have to go to the store and I didn't have to do all of these things, which was, I think, a saving grace for me, and our story because we were all over the news.
Oh boy.
And you know, we had gone somewhere and like picked up a pizza and the people were like, like I could see my face on, or yeah, like our photos on their TV that was behind the counter, and I was like, oh, it's like, well, this is weird. And it doesn't even feel like it's happening to you because you're just like, I don't know where I am anymore, like in this space time thing. Like I have no idea.
Mm.
All I know is that the Matrix absolutely glitched. Um, Not convinced that it's not still not glitched.
I agree. I agree. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Oh, well, I agree. Support, really makes the difference when you're grieving, especially, you know, with a child, just having people surround you and feed you and take care of the everyday things. It's so, so helpful. Um, but then,
But then it gets quiet
yes.
and people have to go back to their jobs and to their life and to
Yeah.
their own families. And now you are back at home and sitting on the couch and like, I don't know if I've eaten. I don't know if I've taken a shower. I know that I can't leave this room because she's touched everything everywhere.
And everything is there in her room and her,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Um, and it's just bizarre. It's just bizarre.
yeah. I have a friend that equates grief with ADD. He goes, it's there's a disconnect that goes on when,
Mhm.
and it's just one of those things where you can't focus. You go
Oh,
from one thing to the next thing to the next thing. And, I found, even recently I've lost my mom and uh, the grief is way different than losing a child, but I still have a lot of that similarity where I can't focus as well as I could, and I lose my train of thought like this.
mhm.
It's, over time, I know that I get back a little bit of the way I used to be, but how has grief showed up for you over time? Had you
Uh, well, I was told by a therapist early on, not one that I'm still seeing, but one that people like, you need to go see somebody. So the two of you go. So it's like, okay, so we went. And I was apparently an overachiever griever. Um,
is there such a friggin' thing? Yeah.
Apparently, because I had within 24 hours of Emma passing, I was like, okay, well, we have a charity. This is going to be the thing. This is going to be our mission. I had people in my company because I work at an ad agency. I was like, okay, I need a logo. I need this. I need this. I need this. I need a website. Like, and that was all basically put together. Not the whole thing, but the idea was set in motion within 24 hours. Um, because I was like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I
Right.
can't go from doing stuff every single second to like now just trying to survive? No. But yeah, I mean, I've even had myself tested, by different doctors to be like, because I'm like, I swear to God, like this is dementia. I'm having like Alzheimer's
No,
because
grief.
I feel like I'm losing my mind
Yes.
because like you said, you're talking to somebody and then you're just like, I have no idea where I was going with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
None. Or you're
So,
answering a question and you're like, I don't even remember what you asked.
yeah. So normal. Oh my God. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
but nobody tells you.
Nobody knows because, well, not we are in an exclusive club. You understand, and unfortunately, or fortunately, not everybody who's gone through grief has gone through the the worst grief imaginable. And I'm going to say it is absolutely the worst grief imaginable. It's normal to lose parents. It's even, normal to lose a spouse. It sucks, don't get me wrong, or a sibling. But to lose a child goes against everything that nature has put in order. And so to go through that, other people don't understand and they can't really relate. They try and say, "Oh, I lost my husband, I understand," but no, no, no.
No,
And,
no, and there
and no
are
matter how you lost a child, it's still horrible, whether it's through sudden infant death, through stillbirth, through overdose, suicide, illness, uh, spontaneous illness. I mean, it's,
Mhm.
it doesn't, none of it makes it any easier,
No, absolutely not.
you know?
No. And I think there's something just particularly horrific about something so sudden, like it happening so suddenly.
Yeah.
Um, like there wasn't a long term diagnosis. This wasn't like a thing that you're like, oh, well, today's her last day. It's like there was none of that. I mean, it was literally like you walked into a room and you turned off the light switch. Um, and it guts you.
It does.
It beyond guts you. Like we don't even have words in our language to uh,
No.
express it.
I mean, people people are off they often misunderstand uh, what it's like to lose a child. What would you say, to someone who's trying to help someone who has lost a child, or what they can do, or or
I
nothing
would
really, but
I would say just do the things and listen more than you talk.
mm,
And that could be, at least for me, just sitting on the couch. But like I don't ask me questions
yeah.
because I cannot focus on any of the words coming out of your mouth. Um, and I remember at some point my one of my dear friends came up from Florida and we're just sitting on the couch and she's like, I don't know what you need me to do. She's like, so I'm gonna sit here. But if you need me to talk and just ramble, I can do that. If you need me to just be quiet,
You need a
I can
friendly.
do that. She's like, but I don't know. And sometimes I would look at her and I'd just be like, talk. She would just ramble about, I don't even know what, but it's like noise.
Yeah.
Um, and for me, I just needed people to just, you know, I don't know how you're still here. Well, thank you. Yes, thank you. Not
Oh,
much choice.
yeah.
Um, and then just doing the things. Like I'll never forget the people that brought stuff over or, you know, um, came into my house and just like did the laundry
Yeah.
or showed up with bags of food. Like, just don't out. What do you need? No, just
You
do it.
don't know. Yeah, you just do
Just
it.
do it.
Exactly. What
Order the pizza, order the ice cream, order the whatever it is.
whatever it is,
Do it.
it's yeah.
Mhm.
What has been the hardest part of this journey for you?
Continuing, to be honest. Continuing to wake up each day and get out of bed. And people are like, oh, well, she wants you to be happy. And it's like, yeah.
Mhm.
However, she is no longer here. So I'm doing my best. But there's always this double-edged sword. You can have a wonderful day, and somebody's like, oh, how was your day? And you struggle with, oh, it was so nice and it was so this, because half of your heart is gone.
How can the world keep going when
How
part
do
of
people not understand?
right?
Yeah.
Have you found that you've changed as a
Oh,
person?
yes.
Can you talk about you before to you after, how that's transitioned?
I would say before, while illness kind of always made me a little nervous, I am now completely terrified. We have a 6-year-old now,
Oh,
and her name is Lily. So Lily and Emma unfortunately never met, at least in this realm. And if she so much as sneezes wrong, this poor child is at minute clinic or the pediatrician, or I'm putting the Pulsax on her and taking her temperature. I mean, if she doesn't grow up to do something in medicine, like, I'll be shocked. Like, I can have her like, okay, Lily, what does the Pulsax say? And she's like, 99. You crazy person. I'm like, yeah, I know. So it's and I've had to learn, and I've wanted to learn these different medical things to help keep us out of the emergency rooms in the hospital, because that's where I just want to be. I just want somebody who is an adultier adult to just say, like, Lily's okay. She's okay. And I need it like every 5 to 6 minutes.
mhm.
Like, she's fine. It's like, okay. So, I've learned a lot of things to help my mind, which is not something that I needed to do before. I have found the types of doctors that I like versus don't like. I prefer female physicians, and will seek them out. I feel like they just, in my experience, have listened better most of the time, not always. And I advocate for that. And I don't care if you're looking at your watch and trying to get out the door. If I have questions, I'm going to ask my questions.
Exactly.
And I have my paper, and they chuckle when I bring it out. I'm like, I don't care. You can laugh at me all you want.
That's right. Till you walk a day in my shoes,
Mhm.
don't judge me,
Yeah,
right?
nope. And, a couple times a year, I call the pediatrician. I'm like, I need the Tamiflu. Um, and I need to just have it on hand.
Good.
I need to have it in the house. I keep it even if it's expired. Just have a little stash. It just makes me feel better knowing that we have it. But then every, 6 months or so, like, I get a fresh dose, if you will,
Mhm.
because I will never not have it again. Now, there's no way to know if she would still be here if we didn't have the Tamiflu, or if we had it rather. And now, we just passed 8 years, with Emma not being here, and it's hard. I saw something from, another grieving mom on, social media, and her son, William, had passed, tragically. And then she had another child, kind of like how, I had Emma and then she passed, and then I had Lily. And she says, she had put in her post something along the lines of, I can no longer say that I wish William were back. And it's this, I understand it, because if Emma weren't gone, I wouldn't have Lily.
Oh,
And it's like, obviously you can't choose.
no.
I am extremely grateful that I was able to have Lily after Emma. I absolutely know that she picked her out, that they knew each other before. It's but it's like this very weird, like, I would do absolutely anything to have Emma back.
Yeah.
But I don't want Lily to go either.
No. I get that. I get that. Yeah. It's the world, the universe, the way things happen. We don't always understand the journey or why things happen the way they do. And I mean, I'm just grateful for the time I got to spend with my son, and that I had triplets and that I have two living children, because when he passed away, there was no way I was older when I had children. I was 36 years old. So when he passed at 16, I was in my 50s. So yeah, I don't know why. I don't. But let's change things a little bit. Let's talk about how you've turned your pain into purpose, because you've done something incredible. Can you tell me about Emma's plan and
Sure.
how it began? And I mean, I know how it began within the first 24 hours, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, so I wanted to do something, and have, Emma's love and kindness still out there for people. I mean, truly, she never met a kid she didn't, already want to be BFFs with. So we started Emma's Plan, which is kind of a play on her name. So Emma, and then her last name is Splan, my husband's last name.
That's amazing.
But she used to write because we had two Lucys in her class, and there was a Lucy D and a Lucy C. And so she would write Emma S, but then she put the plan at the bottom. So we took her handwriting, and that's the logo, because that's just what she would write.
Oh, I love that.
Um,
Oh my gosh.
which is just, it's like how everything just like syncs up is again
It's
bizarre.
crazy. Yeah.
And so we support three, like, of the pillars of the things that she loves: animals, kids, and then the arts. And we raise funds a ton of different ways. But we would make these kitty quilts, and it started off with me putting a call out, if you will, for blocks in the quilting community. It went completely viral, and we got blocks from Australia, Germany, Japan. I mean, I was getting. I mean, we must have gotten hundreds of these kitty blocks, and because we had a pattern, people used that same pattern, got stuff from all over the place. So it started off with making. I was like, well, everybody in her class needs a kitty quilt. And then I did her class, and I was like, well, I think maybe the grade, right? Because she loves everybody. So I was like, she's not going to want anybody to be left out. So then, got a bunch of supporters and helpers and everything else. And we made enough, not just for her grade, but for her teachers, family, various doctors, people from preschool, the lunch ladies, the custodians, the
I
bus
love
driver.
that. Oh my God. That is beautiful.
Yeah, so we
Beautiful.
were able to get that all done before the end of the year, which I don't
Wow.
know how we were able to do that because we made at least
'Cause you had purpose. That's why. You had
yeah, yeah.
purpose.
So we made at least 100 quilts, um, and now, we sell them on the website along with, like, some various stuffed animals and other things. But we take that money and we, send kids to camp. We pay for them to go on field trips, stuff that, like, the PTA at school doesn't cover. Like the school spirit wear, you want the tie-dye t-shirt with your class school
Yeah,
name on it. Those types of things to make sure that you feel like you truly belong because you do.
yeah.
Um, so doing stuff with the kids, animals, we've stayed in very close contact with Paws. They named a cat room after Emma.
Oh,
That's actually where we adopted one of our cats, Giz. He was our second cat. The first one we got was all white, big, big, big blue eyes,
mm.
um, which is, you know, basically Emma reincarnated. And then we have Giz, and Emma sends us hearts, and he is just covered in like heart patterns on his fur. He has like a little heart freckle on his nose,
Oh
behind his
my god.
paws. So it's like, oh, great. So now we have two cats. And, but we raise money to help them with spaying and neutering, but also like the fun stuff, right? Like the kitty toys and the dog toys and the chews and the, cool coats and, that kind of stuff too. Um, we also made a lot of, like, I guess, animal quilts that the pet would be able to then take with them to this new
To
house
the
that they're all going to. Their forever home, if you will.
yes.
Um, and then the arts. So we did a lot with dance, had a lot of dance camp scholarships,
Mm.
um, dance camp as a whole. There were various art programs and things that we signed kids up for. It went a little sideways when COVID happened. So a lot of that stuff had to go online. But we ended up having a decent partnership um, with a company who's no longer around, but they were doing these like virtual art lessons and virtual story times and things like that.
Wow.
So we would pay for, 100 kids, 200 kids to be able to participate in these things and pick out what they wanted to do. It wasn't like, okay, everybody's going to show up for story time at 10 o'clock. If they didn't want to do that, why,
Yeah,
expose them to what they want, to what they're interested in.
exactly, exactly. I mean, what changes do you hope to see in the world because of Emma's story? Like if you had a magic wand.
If I had a magic wand, oh boy, I would really I would want people to get vaccinated,
Yeah.
for one. Um, People do not understand how vaccines work. You cannot get the flu from a flu vaccine. It is not a live virus. You're not just protecting yourself, you're protecting others, you're protecting the, 4-month-old baby, next door because they're not old enough to get the flu shot. You're protecting your grandmother who has Parkinson's and dementia, like, all of these other people who, if they get sick, it's truly it's detrimental. Um,
Yeah.
Somebody with dementia and Parkinson's just kinda, like, keeps decreasing with every illness, and their baseline just keeps going down and down and down. So wouldn't you want to protect them? Uh, but beside all of that, I just want people to be nice and kind to each other. You see that somebody's struggling, help them. Open up the door. If you like somebody's outfit, say, "Hey, I really like your outfit. I like your shoes. I like what you did with your hair."
Yeah.
Go up to a stranger, smile at somebody. It doesn't have to cost anything. Or even realizing that if you're driving and somebody cuts you off, they're probably not trying to be malicious. You know, they're not trying to be a jerk. Maybe they were on the phone, maybe they were looking at the map, maybe they were on a call. Who knows? but you never know who's having like the worst day and worst moment of their life.
That's so beautifully said. It really is, Christy. What does healing look like for you today?
It looks like a lot of therapy. um, yeah, a lot of therapy, a lot of ugly crying. Um,
Mm,
trying to convince myself that there's nothing more that I could do, that it isn't my fault. Um, I think as a mom, your kid falls down and scrapes their knee, and you're like, oh, I should have been paying more attention. Oh, I should have put on the knee pads. I should have done this. I should have done that. And you can't stop. I couldn't stop um, thinking that way myself. And now it's just really 8 years later, taking a deep breath and a lot of talking to yourself of, yes, Lily might be sick right now, but she is not Emma. This is not Emma's story. This is not,
right.
you know,
It's not her journey.
right,
This is Lily's journey.
right. And
All
it's,
on our own journeys, right?
yeah, yeah,
It's yeah.
it's exhausting.
I mean, I think that healing and grief can exist at the same time.
Hmm.
You know, how do, what's helped you find moments of light? Again,
Lily,
yeah.
I mean, Emma, my unicorn child, the kindest person you've ever met in your entire life. And Lily, no joke, is the happiest person I have ever met in my life. I mean, you can hear her laughing at school outside.
Oh,
And,
I love
the teachers just always say, I love her. Her laugh is so contagious. Like, it's
mm,
just joy just radiates off of her. And so you can't really help but have these like little glimmer moments of like, you know, the world isn't total crap, because you look at this kid and they're just so happy.
yeah.
And you're like, you're playing with a stick. And it's just, I mean, truly, she's just,
That's it. It's to show us, right? To
yeah.
show
And
us.
it makes you slow down
Yeah.
and just be like, I need to be happy too because this kid is so happy.
Mm. If you could speak directly to Emma right now, what would you say?
I love you. I miss you. Do not do this again. You're in a lot of trouble. Uh,
Oh, honey, I feel you. I know exactly how you feel. Oh my gosh. So I usually end every episode with a poem that my son Scott wrote. And he happened to write one, ironically enough, that's titled Kindness. And I,
See?
it's pretty incredible. He says, kindness. Things I associate with the word kindness are also things that make people's lives enlightened. When I commit an act of kindness, I can't stop but feel excitement. The way someone's smile will widen and their face will glow like lightning makes these acts of appreciation really worth trying. It's almost like looking over the horizon, and it creates a sensation of people being united. And that's
That.
my son. I mean, your strength, Christy, and your love and your willingness to share Emma's plan with us is so sacred. And I can't thank you enough for trusting us with your story. It is just beautiful. And I know that Emma is shining down her light through us. And I keep waiting for like a big heart beam to come up behind you and just frame you in the picture. It's just so beautiful. And my Scotty sends hearts all the time too. And it's just I think that's one of the connections that you and I share, besides the obvious connection. But I thank you. And I want to tell our SOS viewers to thank you for joining us today. And I know this is a really hard topic, um, but no, there is help out there if you need to talk to someone about whatever you're feeling. And if you haven't gotten a copy of my book, SOS, A Lesson on Love, Loss, and Survival, you can go to my website, serinadansker.com. You can get a copy there. You can find this episode and past episodes of our show, SOS Stories of Survivors. And thank you. I'm so grateful to you. I'm grateful to you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Take care.
Bye bye.